Yes, people, we are back. Race for Europe show's back, but in a different format. I can't lie. There's not much going on. International break is here. England are currently playing Scotland. LB is going to keep us informed of what's going on because he's got it on. And I don't have a TV in here, so that's how interested I am in this game. I'm all for tournaments. I'm all for World Cups and Euros, but other than that, I can't get into England, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, those that haven't been, Valencia, go. Go. What an unbelievable city. Make sure you go over there if you haven't done that. Put it on your wish list, people. Had a great time. It was fantastic. And so pleased that I visited. And I visited in an international break when nothing's going on. So I ain't actually missed anything. It's been beautiful. So if you do plan to go away, make sure you're doing an international break because there's enough time. Trust me, there's nothing going on. And this international break has been an incredibly quiet one from what I can make out. All content creators are just like, oh, struggling to do a show. What do I talk about? This is boring.
Unless it's
And
Man
I
United,
make
in
them
which
right.
case you've got loads of
Unless
stuff
you're
to
Man
talk about.
United, where there's literally something to talk about every
Well,
minute of
someone's
the day
awake.
at the moment.
Someone's fucking awake this week. Well done.
Big up the man, then big up LB, big up Dan, big up Billy, big up Lawless. Errol can't make tonight. He's busy. Maz, it's his birthday. Happy birthday, bro. And of course, we have Pete who's going to join us soon. I want to talk about Gareth Southgate first because LB, I saw your little rant earlier, bruv, and I'll make you right if I'm honest. Let me give you my opinion on Gareth Southgate, the man, of Gareth Southgate, the manager, and then I'm going to come to you, LB, because I thought you made some good points. I think Gareth Southgate is a nice guy, right? I've got nothing against him personally. I think he comes across extremely well in the media. I think he comes across very well, in fact, and I think he handles the media incredibly well. He backs up his opinions as best he can. He tries to justify them, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to hate on him for some of the stuff that he's done in the media. But I've always felt in the last 3 tournaments, so that's now 2 European championships and 1 World Cup, that we should have won at least one of them. And I felt that his tactics let us down in the positions that we were in at the time, being 1-0 up against Croatia, 1-0 up against Italy. And in France, I know that it was a close game, but his tactics were weird. His subs were weird. I just didn't get it. I haven't got it so far. And I feel personally like if we had a manager who would actually be more of a proven manager, let's say, then I think we could have won one of those tournaments. That's my brutal, honest opinion. I'm not going to sit there and start saying Southgate's awful, but I'm also not going to sit there and big him up and say what an unbelievable manager and he needs to be put in the bracket of Sir Ramsey, etc. LB, your thoughts, bro?
I think the guy did a job when he come in. I think is what we needed as a country at the time, and I think he did well to sort of unite everyone. But that was as far as he could take it, in my opinion. I think if you look tactically at the game against Croatia back in 2018, he failed to respond to Croatia's changing tactics in the second half when. And I still remember this. This isn't Googled. I still remember this to this day. Everyone could see that Croatia were overloading the wings, and he failed to sort of change the tactics. We ended up getting battered in the second half. That was his fault. We ended up losing the 3rd round playoff. Italy score within a couple of minutes, so we sit back and just sort of chill. You know what I mean? Don't do anything. We're at home. It was a home tournament. You know what I mean? We should have gone for it, and he didn't. He sat back, and quite frankly, it was embarrassing to watch. His comments today have united a lot of fans, not just City fans. I'm seeing United fans, Arsenal fans, everyone. Everyone's just thinking, what are you talking about when he's chatting? He's asked today about Phil Foden and why he's not playing in the middle, and he starts talking about Pep Guardiola. What are you on about? Why is he talking about Pep Guardiola in Manchester City? It's a completely different thing, you know what I mean? And I just think that at the moment, mate, I just think we're playing dull football. You're spot on. We should have won at least one of the trophies in the last 5 years, and we've not won any of them. And his football's dead. And you've got to go back to the fundamental basic question. Does this guy deserve to manage England? Well, what's he done? He got Middlesbrough relegated and then took an under-21 job at England. And suddenly he's the England manager. Is this where we're at? Is this where we're at? You know what I mean? We're meant to be supporting England here, one of the best football clubs football teams in the world. And we've got a manager who has managed Middlesbrough and got them relegated. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's done a good job. You know what I mean? I don't think we got to the semi-final of the World Cup and the final of the Euros because of him. I think that was because of the players. But I'm not going to take it away from him. He's done a good job. But ultimately, both of them losses, in my opinion, could have been wins if it wasn't for him. So I think thanks for what you've done, mate. But it's time to go. and we need to move on. You know what? In fact, Dan, I don't know whether you agree. I actually think that the similarities between England and Arsenal are actually very, very, very similar. I think you look at England and you look at Arteta. You know, some Arsenal fans are saying Arteta's done a great job. He's got him in the top 4. He got him challenging. You know, some people say Southgate's done a good job. He's got us to a semi-final, got us to a final, but we still failed to win. And then you've got fans like me who was like, yeah, but he's not done anything. He's not actually won anything. I actually think they're very similar. Maybe it's Arteta's maybe got a little bit more grace there because he's at club rather than a national team. But I actually think there's some similarities.
Yeah, I hear that. And I think that what you're saying there is... okay, let me put it this way. I'll ask the panel this and I'll open the floor. If Arteta and Gareth Southgate both get sacked, which one's getting the job first? At a good job, a good job, not managing Doncaster.
Well,
it's Arteta every day of the week. I think
Right,
Southgate.
there we go. So sorry, Billy. I understand what they'll be saying, and I'm not sticking up for Arteta here because you know my thoughts are of Arteta. They're still very uncertain. Big up Henry Wright TV, by the way. Make sure you go subscribe, people. Make sure you get over there. Big up Henry. Listen, I'm with LB there. If both of them got sacked, Arteta's going to get the job because of I think he has the most potential. Everyone seems to talk about this potential that Arteta's got. Gareth Southgate, is he getting a job at like Everton even, or like would he go to be the Brentford manager after? Like, I'm not talking about like Arsenal or
I think
you know
I
here.
think with exactly what LB said there. My thing that I would say to Southgate would be essentially stop wasting our time. Stop wasting our time. You come in with chest saying, I will give players the chance. I will give them the minutes they deserve. You will see me pick a squad based on players that are there, not on reputation, but on being deserving of the chance. The fact he's picked Phillips, the fact he's picked Maguire, it's just going back to how it always is with every England manager. We see this every time. Every manager has his favourites. I honestly don't see where else we go from here. He hit his ceiling, in my eyes, in the Euros. We got there, unbelievable. Exactly what LB said. After 3 minutes, we shut up shop, which you don't do against the Italians. And in that game, and I remember it like it was yesterday, they were there for the taking. We should have pushed on, layered the attacks, and we could have got two or three. A back line that had an average age, with Kalani and what's his name, was it Bonucci?
Bonucci, yeah.
Bonucci of like 40. They're both aged defenders. We had nothing but pace. And I actually look at what he's done today with Foden, and I think that is the biggest disrespect to a player. And hey, look, I'm a United fan. I'm used to our players getting disrespected, but that is the biggest.
What was it he actually said? Because I didn't see it. I just heard that everyone's going, man. What did he actually say about this Foden thing then?
Just in no uncertain terms, he doesn't fancy him in the centre. Doesn't think he brings enough to the centre.
But then he put it on, but then he put it on Pep. It was like, well, if you don't know why, go and ask Pep Guardiola.
Yeah,
it's just like, what are you on about? Why you're the England manager, mate? You know what I mean? We're asking you. You know what I mean? By the way, we have a certain Kevin De Bruyne at our football club. Do you know what I mean? And
Bernardo.
That's probably one of the reasons. Like we're asking you the question: why is it? Why can he not play in the middle? And he's talking about Pep Guardiola, like, and then he said it depends on the level of opposition. Well, hang on a minute. Kevin De Bruyne got injured with 20 minutes against Inter Milan in the Champions League final. Guess who come on? Phil Foden. So let's not talk about level of games and stop talking about
everyone
Pep
knows,
Guardiola,
man.
Everyone
knows Rice Bellingham and Foden is the best three. Everybody knows that.
But what Max has just put there is absolute bollocks, because you've just completely done your own argument there. Because why is Maguire there then? Why is Phillips there?
That's so true, man.
There's nothing about experimenting with it at an international level. He has his favourites, and it's as simple as that.
And you know what? Right, I'll say this, Billy. I'll say this to you, right? Like, for me, there is no justification for picking players that he has. This is my problem with Gareth Southgate. I've always said, trust your players. That's fine, but it's got to be fair, right? What more can some of these players do? And I'll say it, and Lawless will back me up here. James Ward-Prowse has looked really good, in my opinion, for West Ham. Also, he ain't been that bad for Southampton for the last few years, regularly, consistently. At under 21 level, I think he was the captain who won him stuff and won him the games where he was there. He knows him well. and he's putting people like Henderson and even Phillips in. And I'm thinking, so what has James Ward-Prowse actually got to do then? You know, because it's not just him. He's obviously putting Harry Maguire in. Harry Maguire is behind Lindelof and other centre halves that are under 18 level now.
He's under a fucking left back. He's under a left back at United. If Luke Shaw's fit, Luke Shaw's playing ahead of him. Simple as that. How are these players getting picked?
I think Billy it's time for him to go now, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I really don't like him. I really cannot stand him, to be honest with you. As a manager, I really don't like him. I think he gets credited with a lot of stuff that would have happened naturally. For example, the unity in the squad. I think that just happens naturally with the movement of social media. Things like that. We can get into that in a bit if you like. But I think the picking of the players and what has James Ward-Prowse got to do, things like that. I think he's picked Henderson because where does Gareth Southgate go after England? He goes to Saudi, doesn't he? Like, let's not beat around the bush here. It's a job. It's a job there, a well-paying job that's going to be there for him. They're probably going to want him because he's been the England manager. He's done well with England in quotation marks. And I think they're probably saying, you know, don't just put the Saudi Pro League down immediately, kind of thing.
The squad, though, Billy. To not even put Ward-Prowse in the squad.
It's an absolute joke, but it's been a joke for the longest time now. He has to go. He's had to have gone for yonks. I'm completely and utterly fed up with it, and it makes me resent England. I didn't want us to win the World Cup. I don't want England to win because I can't stand Gareth Southgate. I cannot stand. I can't get behind this quality, this football. I just can't. I really, really don't like it. And I've said it out there. It's probably going to get clipped and stuff like that. I don't care. It makes me resent England, the fact that we've got this guy as a manager, because it's not good. It's just horrendous. The football that you're watching is horrendous. Oh, man. It's awful. I really don't like him.
Yeah. You don't like him then, Billy. I get that.
You get me started on Southgate, and it's.
Can't wait for him to replace Emery through the season.
I would love it if he replaced Emery. Wait, would you not want Villa to win anything, Billy? Like if he became Villa manager,
slightly different.
He's a Villa legend, isn't he, Billy? And he like a Villa centre half legend, Gareth Southgate.
Well, I did have a football a retro shirt with Southgate on the back. That's been sold a long time ago. Yeah, get that out of my house. Yeah, no,
love that, man.
I really don't like him. I really resent England for it as well.
1-0, 1-0 England. I think it's offside though. Foden.
Oh, you're
no way.
Maybe he was right.
I think it's offside. I'll have a look now. Bellingham just played a ball through to Rashford, but I'm pretty sure Rashford was offside. And then Walker had a shot, and it's deflected off Foden. So it's not. I don't think Foden had much to do with it. But let's have a look at replay here.
Yeah, he's off there, I think.
Yeah, so Foden plays it in. Is Rashford offside?
Rashford.
Oh no, I think he might be on there, Dan. You know, on the replay.
I'm watching on my phone.
Yeah, no, I think good goal. England leading 1-0. So what about that, Billy? 1-0, bro.
Well, it is what it is. The thing is, I'm such a club over country person, as you could probably tell. Anyway, and,
why you've had so many years of hurt?
I know. I don't. Well, so with England. What's the difference?
Finals and semis. What have you got recently?
Recently, we've had Wembley trips almost every year, mate. We've had Wembley trips.
The playoffs don't count.
Playoffs do count. The Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, we've been there fairly regularly in recent years. The 2010 Carling Cup final, if Phil Dowd had the bottle, he'd have sent Vidic off after 2 minutes.
I knew that was
coming. Yeah, no, we've been fairly successful. We had a little dip in the Championship, but yeah, no. Getting back to England quickly, I'm such a club over country person anyway, and the way that England are playing now under Southgate, etc. I just care about what the Villa players are doing. I want McGinn to go and have a cracking game today. I wanted Emi Martinez to win the World Cup. I just care about the Villa players. I've completely lost interest.
There's a lot of people like that, Billy. You're not alone, man. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that are like that. Like, I'll tell you what. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Is open to the panel, right? Would you rather your club win the Premier League or Champions League, or England win the World Cup? Lawless.
Give me a Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
Club,
I would.
yeah?
I would take I'd take a Carabao Cup. I've always said that.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'd have to take England.
I'm taking England.
Just in my lifetime to see it. Oh,
To
my
be
God.
fair, though, right, you two have seen, recently a lot of club trophies and things like that. So what you haven't seen is England win something. So that would be special because you ain't seen it. I mean, obviously, I've seen us win a trophy, but I want more. Like, I want more. One's not enough, like, for me to see. I want to see more. So.
Mate, you European champions. What more do you want? Stop being greedy.
Listen, you get the taste, man. You get the bug.
I think I would go. I think I'm with the lads down here just for the pure fact that is it 2-0?
2-0. Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden put the ball in. It was a great cross from Phil Foden off the left-hand side. Poor defending from Scotland, and Jude Bellingham just taps it home from 6-7 yards.
I'll get LB on top sport. That is.
That was like a Soccer Saturday special. Let's just hand over to.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go here.
To be fair, Scotland are shit.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're doing all right.
Their record at the minute is unreal.
Yeah, they've absolutely
smashed it.
Yeah, they've absolutely smashed it.
But come on. If you're not beating Scotland, we should be. But listen, our team. This is the thing. Our team is good, man. Our team is this England squad. I'll tell you this now. This is the best England squad that I've seen in my lifetime. This is better because the first 11 was better back in the 2000s, weren't it? But the squad that we've got wasn't. The squad after that was poor, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you could pick the 11 and you might have a sub that you might bring on, but that'd be it. Like, the rest of it is like, oh, no, we're going to have to play so-and-so behind him here. This is a squad full of quality. Like, if you look at the attacking lineup we've got, like, just the strikers, Kane, Tony, even like Tammy Abraham, you've got Calvert-Lewin, all these guys that don't get a look in. Years ago, they probably would have been lining up. Do you know what I mean? We had like Shearer, and that was it. There was no one behind it. Do you know what I mean? Then we had Owen and Rooney, but that was about it. Do you know what I mean? He had like Crouchy coming on, or Defoe, or whatever it was.
Emil Heskey, come on.
Emil Heskey, yeah. Now it's like there's someone, and lining up now, you've got Callum Wilson, I've still not mentioned. Obviously, in midfield, wide men, the Sterlings get picked, the Rashford get picked. You've got Foden, who just mentioned, Saka, Rashford, Grealish. Like, there's a lot, man. There's some quality coming through. So for me, I think we should be favourites for these competitions coming up. Will we win them? I don't have the faith we will, because I just don't believe Gareth Southgate is that guy, man. And Lawless, let me come to you, because, James Ward-Prowse, he's been impressive, but it ain't just the West Ham form. He's been impressive for Southampton for me for a long time. I'm not saying that he deserves to start for England, but does he really deserve to be dropped of late for those players in front of him?
No. Like, when you look at it on form, and I think he just offers something different. Obviously, the set pieces, but the passing range, it's just a different dimension. That's what you wanted, like, from players. When England need that something different, you've got that to bring off the bench or to start in a game, depending on who you're up against. And yeah, he gives you a good option. And to have Henderson, I think that, like, Phillips was embarrassing because he hasn't played any football, but that Henderson, why he's so wedded to that guy. Like, I'll never forget the Euro final when he took Rice off for Henderson and England went to lose that game. So maybe it is because he wants to get to Saudi. I don't know. I've never liked him from day one. I always said that World Cup, when England got to the semi-final, was the easiest route England's ever had. Like, them teams, and scraping past, like, was it Colombia, like, on penalties and shit? Like, oh, it was embarrassing.
Sweden and Colombia wasn't it, I think, and then there was someone else as well. And then the group stages, we had like Panama and like
still
Costa
conceding
Rica
against them.
Yeah, and if you remember, we lost to Belgium because whoever lost that had the easier route. So
there's something, right, in these certain players have worked well for him in the past, so he has to keep changing. But then how do other players get a look in? How do the Ward-Prowses, the Jared Bowens, and all these players for these other clubs that are doing so well and playing consistently week in, week out, match fit, sharp, hungry? Like, why do we ignore them over these tired old dogs like Henderson? Who's going to do nothing?
You know what's mad is I was watching Sky Sports the other day, and David James was on, and he said exactly the same thing. He said, once you're in with Southgate, you're in. You know what I mean? And so Henderson's. So the question that I sort of pose is, say we had a superstar 17, 18-year-old coming through, right? Like, best in the world, Messi. but he was playing in Saudi Arabia, would he get in? Or would he not get in because he's playing in Saudi Arabia? Do you know what I'm saying? Because like it's almost as if like once you're in the squad, you don't even have to play football anymore. Phillips don't play. Maguire don't play. You know what I mean? Henderson's playing in Saudi. So and this is now a problem because you could have someone dropping 9 out of 10 performances, 8 out of 10 performances week in, week out in the Premier League or whatever, or in Italy. But because you're not in the Southgate's mind, it's just like, you know, I disagree. I've said all along, I disagree with Phillips being in the squad. You know what I mean? I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right that Maguire's in the squad either. And I don't think it's right that Henderson's in this. I've got no problem with Henderson going to Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? He wants to earn the bag, go earn the bag. But he shouldn't be in the England team. Like the England team is for players who are playing at the top level.
Didn't he say to Grealish? Was it Grealish he said to when that Villa got relegated? Like, oh, I can't pick, you know, if he's not playing in the highest level, if he's not playing in the Premier League, you know, or was it Grealish or someone else?
We was playing in the Championship at the time, and he was smashing it, as I'm sure you can imagine. And he should have been, in my opinion, whether it was there to be played or just to kind of gain a little bit of experience, he should have been being picked in my eyes. But yeah, you have to be playing Premier League football. You have to be playing at the top level every week. Well, he just contradicts everything that he says.
Yep. And you're right, Billy. This is one of the things that's pissing people off because he's been speaking about Foden not playing in the middle for City. Yet he played Maddison left wing. He's playing Phillips in the middle tonight. He's playing Trippier left back. So you know what you want about.
My worry as well is that he's had a chat with. Sorry, Potts. Go on, mate.
No, go on, Dan.
No, I was saying this is my worry going back to Maguire. This is why I don't think Maguire really pushed to move through in the summer. I think he had a chat with Southgate, and Southgate said, "Don't worry about it. You'll be in my squad."
That's so true, mate. That's
don't
so
worry
true.
about it. Yeah,
he's basically saying, "Do what you want. You'll definitely play." Same as Jordan Pickford. Don't worry, you'll be safe. You're number one. And I get this. Some of these England lads, they've never let Southgate down. They've never let Southgate down. I get that, but there is actually like, what's the point of playing well for your club then if you're never going to get picked? Because the one from 5 tournaments ago is definitely getting in. Even if you get player of the month every single season and you're the defender, the next Ruben Diaz, you're not going to get ahead of Maguire. What's going on here? This is mad. You know, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking the back five, everybody knows, right? But it's never the back five. So Ramsdale's the number one keeper. No, Pickford gets ahead of him every single time. You never see Trent at right back. You never see Ben White at right back. It's always Kieran Trippier or Kyle Walker. Fair play, right? Centre backs, you never see the best two centre halves because Harry Maguire's there. John Stones is the best England centre half. And then alongside him is probably Tomori, let's say, or Gehi, who's been on fire for Crystal Palace. Ben White can play there. We always see Harry Maguire. At left back, it's always Luke Shaw. I don't think he's been great for Man United. I don't know about you, Dan. I don't think he's been outstanding. Luke Shaw and Chilwell's there. He's other left back. Then you go into midfield, you know that it's got to be Rice and Bellingham, but then he always gets the other position wrong. Sometimes it's Mason Mount. Sometimes it's like you mentioned, if it's not Foden, then it's who's he playing there today? I don't even know who he's playing there today.
Phillips and Rice.
Phillips
and
right. There we go. Phillips is in the middle. We've just mentioned that. Henderson's in the middle instead of these. How often does he play Maddison as a number 10? I don't think he ever has. So there's so many positions all out of the place.
I've got a bit of a theory here, and Dan United, you kind of mentioned it then, and I wonder what your thoughts are on this. So you mentioned Maguire, right, not leaving, and obviously maybe he's had a conversation with Southgate to say you'll be in the squad, like he probably has done to Calvin Phillips. So use Calvin Phillips as an example because it's been going on for longer at Manchester City. But could Calvin Phillips be sitting there thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm at Manchester City, I'm winning trophies, I'm not playing, and I'm still being picked for the England team. And when I play for England, like tonight, he's played well in the first 43 minutes. He played well. He's still playing and he's still getting in the England team. Could he be thinking to himself, well, hang on a minute. If I do leave and go to a team, you know, in a relegation scrap or something like that, I could be exposed.
Even a mid-table team.
100% LB.
And then he just thinks to himself, then I might not get in the England team because I'll be getting exposed every week and everyone will be like, oh, he's rubbish, he's not doing anything. But actually, it's not his fault. It's just he's getting exposed. And it's the same maybe with Maguire. Maybe Maguire's 100%. Thinking, if I go to an Everton or whoever, and I'm not getting protection off my defensive midfielder or the defenders next to me is rubbish and the wing back's rubbish, then I'm going to be made to look a fool. And then maybe Southgate will be forced not to pick. I think that, I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying it's potential theory.
I think it's just the fact that they don't need to go. So Maguire, for instance, I can stay at Man United. I can get paid massive wages to sit on the bench and I'm still going to get picked for England. Whereas before, you know, where there's been times where it's like, used to say in the past, listen, mate, you need to be playing or you ain't getting picked. So these players would actually go to teams lower down the table in order to play every week because they wanted to get picked for the national team. And that's the thing. You see this with like players from other countries. That's why you think, how the fuck did they get that player? Because they want to be playing week in, week out so they can play international football. But with these players, you know, for England, it don't matter. So they don't have that incentive to leave these top clubs and go to less clubs and take less wages to just try and get in the squad. That's the problem. What he's created, it's complacency.
I also think there's a certain level of this big six bias, if you want to call it. At the end of the day, he's still picking Man United and Man City players. If Maguire or Phillips was to go to a West Ham, to a Villa, to an Everton, to whoever, and Maguire, for example, perfect example, goes to West Ham. Does he start for West Ham? Probably not. You know, all of a sudden, he's then picking a West Ham player that's not starting. And it has a slightly different ring to it. And he then has even more pressure because he's not picking a Man United player anymore.
Do you know what else helps him? And this is something I hate about the qualifiers in Europe is the fact he does have a high win percentage because the qualifiers are full of crap teams. You know, you've got the San Marinos still getting in there. You've got the Lichens. You've got all these teams that you can go and you know you're going to pump them. You know, and I think it annoys me, these stats. His win rate, you know, is incredible against all these fantastic managers in history. But nowadays, these smaller, you're seeing it so much in the qualifiers. You know that England have got 12 points before they've even kicked a ball. It just helps too much with him, and I think his win ratio is a lie. I would much rather see a stat on his percentage in tournaments rather than across the board. Take the qualifiers out of it, just the tournament percentage, because it's not that great. It's not as good as people think.
No,
there are a couple of losses, there are a couple of draws. You know, America in the World Cup, we were absolute dog shit against them, 0-0. They should have spanked us. You know, you've got to look at the bigger picture with Southgate, but I do think, and I think LB will potentially agree with this. I do think, and actually you guys might as well. There does seem to be that switch on social media now. More and more England fans are starting to. The rose-tinted glasses are off. The memories of the 2021, Euros are starting to fall back a bit now. And actually, on Saturday, it was the first real time I saw social media light up about Southgate. This isn't enough. He has to go. I think he's not on borrowed time, but I think if he wants to keep himself in a job, gone are the days now where, 2018, the fucking song and all that bollocks, the 2020 Euros, that's not going to be in the bank for him much longer because that's years ago now. We need to be progressing as a nation with the talent we have available to us. And at the moment, we're just not doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, this is the next question that everybody wants answered and no one really can. This one comes in from MP. It says, Dan, would you take Wenger as the England manager? I wanted him for the USA. That's the next question, boys. Who is the next England manager if we get rid of Gareth Southgate? Because years ago, LB, it used to be when you were the best manager in England, you normally got offered the England job. Now, Eddie Howe, at probably one stage last season, Graham Potter, I can't think of many other England managers that are at a top level that we'd be looking at now and going, I want him. So where do we go from here? Do we have to go foreign?
Well, what you have to do, first of all, you have to decide, as you sort of hinted there, is do you want an English manager or do you want a foreign manager? Now, if the FA, I'm kind of open on it. You know what I mean? In an ideal world, you'd want an English manager, right? I think that's obvious. But if you want to go with a foreign manager, I know some people don't agree with that, then that's fine. But if you want to go for an English manager, it's going to be either Howe or Graham Potter. So neither of them two managers are elite level managers. So if either of them get a job, the number one instruction has to be play good football. Because if we're not winning anything anyway, so it's unlikely that we'll win with them because they're not elite level managers. So at least play good football. Or if you want to get a winner, then you're obviously going to have to get a non-English manager, but then you have to get the top guys. a Pep Guardiola level, someone who's won Champions Leagues or won European cups before or World Cup. You have to get an elite level. Now, that's obviously, like, some people will be like, no, we need to get an English manager, which is cool.
Could he be tempted, LB? Pep?
Who?
Could he be tempted?
I think he would be tempted. I see a lot of people think, some City fans don't think he would be tempted. But listen, I think, I don't think he would be right. I don't think now's the right time for him. But maybe in like a couple of years' time, I don't think he wouldn't. I don't know, man. Like, I think he does want to manage internationally. I think he would prefer Spain. But listen, if England have got a good enough squad, maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Knows a lot of the boys, doesn't he? Brought a lot of the boys through himself. It's
a lot of the City boys, eh?
I'd love it. I'd absolutely love Pep. Honestly, that would be
everyone's
dream.
number one for sure. But I don't think he will go.
Knowing our luck, though, the foreign manager would be Jose, wouldn't it? That's knowing our luck. That would be the foreign manager.
But I'd take that.
I would take that. I would take Jose, and I hate him, but I bet he'd win us the tournament. I bet you he would.
What about Unai Emery? Unai Emery?
Nah. I don't think he'd be a good fit, Dan.
You don't think?
No, I don't think he'd be a good fit.
I think tournament manager. He's not. You know what I mean?
No, I think the England job, Dan. You've got to have charisma and proper. You've got to own that position, and I don't think he would be able to do that at England.
I don't think he'd be interested in it.
That's a good shout by Just Joe Football Show there. Actually, I forgot about that. That's a good shout. He is, isn't he? Staunch Catalonian.
Yeah, he has spoke about it though before in the past. This issue here that's on the screen, and he has said he would manage Spain.
Oh, right, okay.
But because of what Joe said, maybe he would take the England job. I'd take
Joe likes Southgate. Joe actually rates Southgate, likes him. So it isn't all hate for Southgate. Joe thinks he's good, likes him.
I was hoping one of us would be on here would actually love Southgate and defend him, but we all are in agreement. We all hate him.
Isn't this weird?
Hate's a strong word, but you know.
Well, it's not hate, but we hate him being the manager.
To be fair, Dan, you can understand why people do rate him. I mean, he got us to a semi-final and a final. My point on it is look at what happened when we got to the semi-final and the final.
Yeah, that's my point.
That was fully on the manager. Facts.
I just think he's been extremely lucky with the set of players that he's been given. And, you know, I mean, we've mentioned it already, the amount of players that he's got there at his disposal. Kane's now pushing 30. You've wasted his international career. You know, Grealish is now pushing 20. I think it was his birthday the other day, wasn't it? He's now 28. They're in their prime now. They've been in their prime for a good few years now, and it's been completely wasted. I mean, we've got good talent coming through, but this is what should be a golden generation for English football. With the amount of players we've got, we need to be making the most of it, and we're just not with him in charge. It's I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think that the credit that he gets given a lot is he's brought that squad together. You know, you don't have the cliques anymore like you used to between the United and the Arsenal and the City players and the Liverpool players. But that's just natural progression, I think, in football with what's happened with social media. These players all come up together in their academies, in the England academy, and they just keep in touch on social media a bit more. They're constantly having a joke. They're still able to talk to each other, and I think that's just gone naturally with how the world has progressed. I think he's just been completely and utterly lucky in every single
sent shockwaves with Sterling, didn't he? Not picking Sterling. I was stunned he didn't pick Sterling.
Yeah, another embarrassing decision.
That's the thing. He starts playing well and he doesn't pick him. When he wasn't doing so good, he picks him.
Yeah,
that is true. That is a mad one.
That one out.
Can I?
The thing is, it's not just that. It's the other thing. Is like he took Saka off, who was by far the best player against France. I'm not saying that's a Maguna, it's just facts. Brings Grealish off with Grealish on with 90 seconds to go when we're going out against France. He decides in a final to sit back after going 1-0 up. In the first minute, I think it was that Luke Shaw had scored that or something like that, wasn't it? 3 minutes within it. Sits back 1-1, we'll sit back. Then it goes to penalties, and he says to the three youngest kids up there, I know you've probably never taken a penalty before, but go and do it in a final. And the three of them miss. And it's like, it's there, and then it's on them, and they put them through absolute hell. Where is the management there? Now, I understand some players say, I don't fancy this one, boss. But you've got to say sometimes, well, look, a 19-year-old kid's here says he'll take one. Are you really going to let him do that? Or Jack Grealish, do you want to actually have a little prod down there and see what you can find and go step up? That's what I would have been saying. But
Grealish
unfortunately,
put
we
his
go,
hand up
okay, then
as
we'll
well.
put these three lads. I
think
mean,
Grealish
Grealish
put his
didn't
hand
take one,
up.
did he? No, it's just
Can I ask
mad
you a question
me.
for the panel? Can I ask you a question for the panel?
Yeah, go on, man.
Do you think the next England manager should be English, or would you be happy if a foreign manager stepped in? I'm going to put it out
the right
there.
man.
That
I want the right man for the job.
I would
That doesn't
prefer an
matter.
English manager, but I'll take anyone.
I want to
Yeah, I
win
think
it.
it's more. I think when you look at other clubs, it's a bit more special when someone of that nationality wins the trophy with the national team. It means a little bit more. But I think what the women's England team is showing, like, you know, you look at how well they're doing, and you think, yeah, you know, like at the end of the day, we want to see us win a trophy, no matter who it's with. We want to experience that, so the whole fucking country can get a bit of a lift. So, yeah, when I look at the crop of English managers, I'm really not impressed. And I think so many English managers are just behind with the times of football. They just haven't seemed to.
Still yet to win the
update
Premier
them.
League, Lawless, as well. An English manager.
That's what I mean.
Would
Would you
you
take
say?
Potter or Howe? Would anyone take Potter or Howe?
Yeah, I think either of them would be a good job.
Yeah,
I'd take
agree.
Howe. I'd take Eddie Howe.
I'd take both of them in an instant.
I would.
Over Southgate. Over Southgate.
The instruction would have to be you have to play attacking football.
I'd take Howe if he
Yeah,
did, as long
that's
as
it.
Tyndall didn't join him.
I think
I'd
they
take
would.
Howe as long as we didn't have Tyndall on the sidelines. Can't have that.
But,
Yeah,
What about
yeah.
Wenger or Mourinho? Like, would you deep that for a second and just like, would you?
I'd take either of them.
I would.
Not even joke. I would take either of them. I'm not even
No, I
joking. They
think
proved. Look what they've
Wenger's
proven.
been out too long, man. I think Wenger should have took the job immediately after leaving Arsenal. That was the right time to take the job, but I think he's just been out the game too long. Mourinho, maybe. But yeah, if you're not gonna get a manager like, you know, the level of a Howe and Potter, like, you need to get elite managers around the world. You need to find like the top, and they're hard to attract because you're asking them to give up club football, you know.
Like Conte ball, Lawless. Conte ball, Tim's saying.
Well, we want to get rid of Southgate.
That's
ball
not
and go to
attacking.
Conte.
Not for me.
That's
But
the thing.
it's
Mourinho
like-
and Conte, they ain't going to get you attacking football, but they win games, don't they?
Do you think there's still sour taste in the mouth left from the Capello era? Do you think that's what turns people away from having
Maybe.
a foreign manager?
That was the wrong appointment. That was awful.
Mm.
That's the worst. I think that's the worst time I've seen that under the McLaren era. That, considering the squad we had was actually decent then. How we didn't get through, that was just embarrassing, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I think if I had my choice, I'd like it to be England manager. I'd like it to be Eddie Howe. But I don't actually think, like, real talk, years ago when it was like, you know, Don Revie and all that, they're like, yeah, I'll go be England manager. I'm the best England manager around, best with Leeds. Now I'm going to go and win with England. Like, I actually don't know that Eddie Howe would take the England job. I think he'd probably stay at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I probably would if I was him. I mean, he's waited all his career for like a massive job. He's got a club with unlimited funds. I mean, and he's still young, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Graham Potter's the one, isn't it?
Plenty of time in the game.
Potter's the one.
You think Potter?
Yeah, Potter.
Well,
Potter,
he's probably the one that would take it, wouldn't he? Because he's not got a club.
Oh, right. I thought you meant the one as in that's the one you want.
I don't
Nah,
know.
not really.
I'd take Potter. You don't just turn into a bad manager overnight. I think that Chelsea job's just toxic anyway. You know, you turn it up every day, and there's a new 5 players there. How is anyone able to properly control that?
Should we chuck Lampard's name in there as well, then, Billy? Because he went through the same blessing.
I don't think Lampard would do an awful job. To be honest with you, I don't think he would do an awful job. I don't think. I don't want him by any stretch.
Or Gerrard.
Oh God, no.
No.
But I don't think they would do as bad a job. And it sounds mental saying that, doesn't it? Really, when you think that he's got us to this, that, and the other.
Do you think, because it's weird we're looking at it now, right? And we're looking at Lampard and Gerrard as their club careers, and like how uninspiring it's been and underwhelming. If you looked at Southgate as a club manager, like, we'd be looking at him probably even worse, even lower on the pecking order than them. And he became the England manager, and like we said, he's had this squad, which is very good, got to finals and semi-finals. So you think, what can a marginally better manager, like, surely if you was desperate, say you
This
couldn't
is
get
what I
Potter, you
mean.
couldn't get Howe, you could go to a Lampard and say, let's see what if there's no other real inspiring
Oh,
option.
the thing is with that though, Dan, is like if you go to a manager like a Lampard, I think you've still got to accept that you're probably not going to win anything, but at least you'll be playing football in an attacking way. So like when Billy's saying before he don't want England to win the World Cup, he hates us. At least it'll get Billy watching football again and cheering us on because he'll be playing football in the right way. But you've then got to accept that you still probably won't win anything, and that's why I'm probably favouring a more elite manager who's not English.
Who do you think would take it though, LB? Like out of there, like the elite managers that you think England could approach?
Mourinho,
he's probably the only one.
Like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like Mourinho, but he would definitely. I think he'd have a great shot at winning a tournament, man. He just knows how to win tournaments, don't he?
Do you think though he's a bit volatile and how he sort of has been with younger players, and this is a young England team? Something about his personality and the way it is with the togetherness of this team. I don't know, man. It might come in and undo that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Steve's got a shout. Sean Dyche. Fucking hell. I tell you what, though, I think he's a better manager than Southgate.
I agree.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ancelotti too is an interesting.
Brazil, isn't he going Brazil? Or was
Brazil, yeah, Ancelotti's going. They reckon he's going Brazil. Yeah, they've said he is, but he'd be one. He'd be the number one for me. Don Carlo, what a legend he is. Listen, it is a Race for Europe show. It isn't 2002, but I am going to let a Leeds fan in. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. Yeah. A little bit triggered, but it is what it is.
Yeah, man. I'll let you come stick up. Not
well, mate, to be honest. We've only played 5 games, won 1. It is what it is. We'll be back. It's all good. It's all good, mate.
That's what I'm saying, Joe. I feel it, mate. I feel it.
Yeah,
slow start, Joe, but you'll be back.
Yes,
listen,
yes.
I'm not wrong when I say this. You were on the show not long ago saying that you thought Southgate's had a good go at England. You like him, you rate him.
Yeah.
So talk to us, man.
Listen, it's not so much that I'm rating the brand of football. I hear what everyone's had to say, but for me, as an England fan, there ain't been no better time than when he's been in charge. That's facts. He's the most successful English manager since Sir Alf Ramsey. Yes, he's not won anything, but if you're gonna hold him to other people, then give me someone who's done as well as him, and I'll chat to you. I'll talk to you about it. Give me times when you've enjoyed watching England at a major tournament. Talk to me about that.
Probably Sven or Terry Venables for the last 2.
Yeah, but is it anywhere close to what we've experienced under Southgate?
I think we had harder draws under Sven, like we had Brazil and Argentina.
But then we're getting down this thing again of like, Billy, listen, I love you, bro. But to say he was lucky with the crop of players that he's inherited is just wild, man. This England squad prior to him going in was going nowhere. It might look totally different now. It might look totally... Let me finish, bro. It might look totally different now with the likes of Bellingham, with the likes of Foden, etc. But that's not the same team that he picked up. That's not the same team that he picked up. This great ethos that you see within the England camp has been created by him. Prior to that, I couldn't stand the majority of players in that England setup. They would try and shoehorn certain players into certain positions because they were names. We would play well for a period, and then Lampard or Gerrard would come back from injury and they'd just go, "You're right. You go back in centre midfield, scores, or you go out left." You talk about a golden generation and being lucky. That was the golden generation. Ashley Cole, Rio Ferdinand, Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard. Yeah. Don't tell me that anybody, just one sec, don't tell me that anybody in this squad right now, they might go on to have as good of a career, but Kane aside, there's no one that can lace any of their players' boots within this current setup, really, if we're being totally honest. So I think to say he's lucky, and I get why everyone's now saying we need a switch. I get it. And this will be his last tournament for me. And he should be allowed to walk off into the sunset. And hopefully will bring us a European trophy in doing so. Because if he doesn't do it, then okay, yeah, I hear it. But I just think it's very, very harsh, the amount of disrespect he gets. Why? Because we struggled against Ukraine. Is that You know, we can't win every fucking game, lads. We can't win every game. Hansi Flick's just got been battered by Japan 4-1 and lost himself the job. These things happen at international level. What he's managed to do is navigate us through now 3 tournaments on the spin to get to a position where we've been within touching distance. I hear people on the radio. I heard a guy on the radio talking about like, oh, you know, I hate this thing of we've had easy draws. It's like you can never do right. Like he'll never be able to do right. Do you know what I mean? Because we're now saying he's lucky to have the current crop that he is, and he's just lucked out. Come on, man, that's not fair. That is not fair because we've had better England squads. Go on. I'll stop now.
I was just saying it's an asterisk. Like you're right. Maybe I think it's somewhere in the middle, Joe. Like, yeah, okay, maybe it is too much to go. Yeah, nothing's him. You know, it's just the squad he has. But when you look at it, and when I looked at that, like I said about the World Cup run. It was when he got knighted by the Queen and shit. And I was like,
yeah, but that's just mad. Yeah.
That was embarrassing. Like him and Kane getting MBEs, OBEs for getting to a semi-final against
that's a lawless comment.
But lawless though, that should he shouldn't be getting knighted. But then again, they give them out to fucking wrong uns these days, don't they? Let's be honest. This is the monarchy, you know.
What were your thoughts on the squad, mate? What were your thoughts on the squad selection this time?
I get Harry Maguire. No. This is why I laughed, bro. Calvin shouldn't be in there, but I get Harry Maguire being in there. And the reason I say that is because he very rarely puts a foot wrong for us. He's never let Southgate down. And who else have we got at centre-back? I know people will say Tomori, but I was speaking to my friend the other day. He's fallen off a little bit by all accounts. I don't watch City Art. I don't see him at AC Milan, but that's what he'd said to me. I can only take on what he'd said. But who else have we got? We don't have a dearth of centre-backs, do we? Really?
There's a few coming through, I think, and this is the time.
He obviously don't want to pick Ben White. He's fallen out.
He should pick Ben White, bro. He should pick Ben White, but there's something happened there, though, hasn't there? There's something happened there with Ben White. He left that tournament early. We've never seen him again. And to be honest, Ben White don't care about football, so he's not even really asked. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, he'd be saying it.
Colville, is he injured? Did he leave
Colville. But he's had a terrible start to the season. He's playing at left back. Why are we going to say to Harry Maguire, who's played all these minutes for England, who's played in every single major tournament? Do you know what? We're just going to hand it over to Colwell just like that. He needs to have experience, heads.
So, do you feel comfortable? Right, we get to the Euros in the summer.
Yeah.
And he's starting Harry Maguire, who's played 6 or 7 games for United. Started 6 or 7 games for United all season. He's picking Henderson, who is in the Saudi league, who has turned.
Yeah, the Henderson one's wild. The Henderson's one wild because we have options in midfield. I agree with you there. I just think Maguire
haven't we got a centre? I mean, Billy isn't. What's his name? English.
Konsa.
Konsa's better than Maguire. What's his name as well? Oh, I just had one. Where's he gone? The Wolves lad who I've always rated. Max Kilman. He's better than Harry Maguire.
Over him. I'm serious.
This is the thing. You've got Ben Mee, you've got Tarkowski. You know, I'm just looking.
Let's not go there. Come on now. What are we doing here?
They're better players and they're playing Premier League football. They're playing football. You can't be picking players that aren't playing Premier League football.
I can think now off the top of my head, and I wish that Germany side under Joachim Löw, for example, right? He would pick players in that Germany side that weren't even getting much game time or weren't like massive names, and there were better options there. Why did he do that? Because he built something. So, listen, I'm not having that a manager should be picking. Listen, lads, if you pick Ben Mee and James Tarkowski in that England squad, what would be a reaction? Talk to me. You would be saying, get him out. Get him out.
How come you think it's fine for Maguire to be in, but not Phillips?
Listen, I love Phillips, but is he really needed in the position that he'll play?
I don't know. I mean, is it not the same just sort of thing?
Probably not. No, because I don't think anyone who's fit and ready and has got experience can replace Maguire.
No, talking about Joe, I want to ask you about
Maguire not letting him down, and I don't think Phillips has let Gareth Southgate down, but he's had.
No, I love Calvin, man.
Yeah.
I've no problem with him being in there. I've no problem with him being in there, but what I'm saying is there's other options. Sorry, I'll stop talking.
No, what in terms of like managers, it weren't until you popped on, a name popped into my head. What do you think of a bit of Beelzebub for England?
I would love it, bro.
Is it
You know
Uruguay?
that. You know
Is it
for a
That
fact.
would be a shout.
Is it
Wait,
Uruguay?
LB's saying no, right? Uruguay, since he's come in, have won both their games on the spin. He's turned down. Jurgen Klopp's been working with this lad for what, 2 seasons? He scores the 2 against Newcastle. He speaks to the press afterwards and goes, "Oh, he had a Zoom call with Bielsa." So this was his reason for the way that he scored the 2 goals.
I like Bielsa.
So
I
to
think the
say
way
no,
that
LB is
Bielsa
wild.
coaches, I think it would be.
What are you
great. I think
talking about, LB? LB's shaking his head. Why?
Why don't you like
Explain to me
Bielsa?
why.
No, man,
Explain to
because
me why.
if you go, for me, yeah, if you're going to get a manager that's not English, you have to get like a Mourinho level, like a Mourinho.
Right. So you want to sack Southgate for the style of football and then choose Mourinho over Bielsa?
No,
That's wild. That's wild.
No. You just put words in my mouth. That's not what I've said at all on this show once.
But you said you said you need to go get someone else, right? A big name, yeah. Clarify what you said for me. Go on.
No, what I've said is I'm happy to get a manager that's English, i.e. Eddie Howe.
But if you're not going to get an Englishman, you'd go for Mourinho, who plays terrible football and probably worse than Southgate.
That's why I don't want Mourinho.
No, because Mourinho could actually win you something.
Right, but so could Bielsa with the style of play that he plays.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Uruguay are an outside tip for the lot, boy.
I don't know, man.
I think he's more of a high level manager. I think that last season at Leeds has sort of been a bit of a black spot on his name, but a lot of top managers learned under Bielsa, and I think his style of coaching and the fact that his teams kind of run out of steam in the league. It's a long period, season. He plays intense football, and it's hard to. But over a tournament, Bielsa being able to get these players just running their asses or relentlessly attacking, I think that would suit this team so well, and I think him as a coach would do wonders for the players and those young players.
100%.
So I would, and we'd all be entertained. It'd be brilliant to watch. We would love it, and I think he'd have a good chance to win. That's why Pops Man, I thought, I'd have Bielsa at England manager.
Joe, let me ask you this, Joe. Would you, if I'm going to do myself in now. Who's your manager? I'm completely lost. Your manager, Daniel Farker. If Daniel Farker go, would you want Southgate at Leeds?
No, right. And the reason I say that is there's a total difference between international football and club football. It is not comparable in any way whatsoever. Okay, I get you don't like the style. Would I want to watch Gareth Southgate week in, week out at my football club? No, right. But he is able to navigate us through tournaments. And do you know what? LB's got a point in terms of Mourinho as a winner. Is it he can navigate you through a competition. He probably will succeed at international level, and I think he'll get the Portugal job at some point. But if we're talking about style over substance, then Southgate's not your man. But I just don't know. Listen, my preferred choice, you were talking about it before I came on, would be Graham Potter. Everyone, there's recency here. They'll say, "Oh, Chelsea, Chelsea's a basket case club. Graham Potter's a top manager. He's a top coach, and I think he'd work wonders with the England squad." But I do think Gareth Southgate's deserved this time. They're not going to sack him now. They're not like Germany, To be fair, though, actually, Germany, it's the first time they've ever sacked a manager. They've normally let them see the end of the tenure. It's the first time they've ever sacked a manager. But we would.
Think about Nagelsmann with them. They've got because he's
Nagelsmann,
still contracted. He's still contracted to Bayern, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's going to go there, isn't he? But he might get it for any Liverpool fans keeping it warm for Klopp, isn't he? Might be keeping it warm for Klopp.
They really want him as well. Apparently, they're really going like.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you want him to be gone now? Is it that bad for you? Why though? Why? Tell me why, Billy.
So I don't want to go through another tournament not supporting England.
Right. So why did it? Whoa! Wait, that needs some clarification. So we got to finals and you didn't support them. Explain your logic, because that's wild.
20.
So as we're going all the way through to the final, you're like, I'm fuming about this, mate. How can I support this? Billy, are you coming to watch the final? Nah, I'm fuming. We got to the final. Don't make sense, bro. You're not talking really.
I get what you're saying. Maybe it could be because I live outside the UK and I don't necessarily have that England football fever when those tournaments are on. I get in the mood for the England games. For example, the final. I can't be asked with this football. I really can't be asked with it. In the Euros. In the Euros.
What are we doing here, Billy?
Hear us out. In the Euros, the road to the final, I really wasn't fussed. The final came round and I was all for it.
So you're a Glory supporter?
When the game was done, couldn't be asked. Are
you a Glory supporter then? Is that what we've established?
If you want to call me that.
Well, that's what I mean. So you can't really speak on the manager, can you? Really, you can't really come to a debate and say, "Do you know what? I'm not even asked. I only watch him in finals." That's not a proper fan. That's why I get passionate about it. Because but it is though, Bill. Because that's why I get passionate. Because as a young boy growing up, I've seen England fail. Had Euro '96. Oh, come on. Yeah. But what I'm saying is we didn't even get out of fucking group stages. We had Roy Hodgson getting beat by Iceland. Do you know what I mean? We had a top team.
That. Southgate was the right guy to come in when he did. He should have had that World Cup to stabilise us, and that should have been his job. In my opinion. He should have been gone then.
Okay. But you don't even watch them anyway unless we get to finals. So how do you know?
He's too much of...
But you don't even watch them though, bro. So
I watch them. I don't enjoy watching them, and I don't necessarily support them.
Billy, why are
we talking about someone who doesn't even support them?
Well, but because I support them in a way of I want to see them do well, but I really don't like this manager, and he's got
Hodgson was in charge, Billy. Did you support them when Hodgson was in charge?
I was too young to really understand it, and that'll make you all.
How old are you, Bill?
I'm 22.
See, this is why you don't. Yeah, I get it now. I don't because I've had shit.
Well, when you've had Steve McLaren, when you've had Capello,
exactly, bro. The Wally with the bully and all that.
Yeah, when you've had managers like that, you understand.
Hodgson was the worst for me. Hodgson was the worst.
But my dad's the same though.
For me, this is not the worst football I've seen as an England supporter.
No,
there are times under the golden generation. I was at the World Cup 2006 in Germany, back in the golden generation, and at times we didn't play as good a football then as what we have now.
No. Pete, you're the same age as me, mate. Do you remember the Keegan era? That was horrendous.
But does this matter?
Keegan's a legend in my eyes.
No, but
Newcastle, he was horrific.
It's about an age thing, though, LB, though. That's why we appreciate him more so than maybe some who were younger, because he's speaking facts there, Pete, about, we had Graham Taylor, who was on front with the turnip. Yeah. You know what I mean? You've had Kevin Keegan, you've had Steve McLaren, the Wally with the brolly. We were a laughing stock. Capello, now when we go into tournaments, and Capello couldn't even speak English, do you know what I mean? Couldn't even communicate with the players.
Didn't even qualify.
But what? Yeah, I suppose that don't fit my narrative, Dan. Shush. But my point is though, that we've had all that and we became a laughing stock. Now when we go into major tournaments, other teams fear us.
Yeah, but we're only getting as far as we get to a difficult game and then we get beat.
We're like
finals or semis
with Belgium.
But the fact is, my statement is correct.
Yeah,
we get to the point where we get to a difficult game and then we lose.
But previously, we've got to the point where we get to easy games and lose because they're not able to cope.
You keep going back to what happened in the past. We need to be looking at the current situation, the current squad, and saying we should be doing better than what we are doing. And the fact is, you talk about how we got to finals and semi-finals, and I'm saying every time we've got to the point in every tournament where we got to a difficult game, then we get beat.
Yeah. So my response to you would be: history has shown me, and I have to talk about history because that's all I've got to go on. History has shown me that every other manager since Sir Ralph Ramsey has done one nowhere near as good as Gareth Southgate. So you can change it all you like, and he will leave, and maybe we will get an expansive coach, and maybe we'll win it all. I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong. But ultimately, history has shown me that no one else can do this right now, what he's been able to do over 3 tournaments.
Can
Go
I-
on, Pete.
can I-
Sorry.
Can I add that Gareth Southgate, like he built us from the ground up. Like we were dead in the water when he took over. There was no expectations with England, not even the media, which Capello, which Steve McLaren, which Sven-Goran Eriksson, which Kevin Keegan, all of them died by media, by pressure, by expectation. We had none of that with Southgate, and it maybe went to his kind of in his favor. But we had nothing at that time. We had no expectations in 2018. Nobody expected us to get to the semi-final, and he did that, and he created a movement which then carried us into the Euros after that. So I think, yes, we've got to those latter stages, and that for me is where Gareth Southgate falls short. He does fall short in that because he hasn't got that. Whether it's the tactical nous, like if you are 1-0 up in the semi-finals and the finals of a World Cup and the Euros, and you go 1-0 up early, and then you're conceding and then eventually losing 2 tournaments in a row, that for me is a concern. That's a massive concern.
Yeah, I hear it.
But you say no manager.
That's where the elite managers make the difference. But the problem me and Joe have is that we've had elite managers, and they haven't even got us to that position. So we're in a position where we don't know.
Pete, let's take that up then. So
what's the best?
Capello, right? What did he do, right? In 2010, did exactly the same. Got us to the round of 16. Got a difficult game against Germany. Got beat. The difference is
bro, 1 game after the group.
Yeah, but he got Germany. Do you want to go through the group game? Do you want to go through the last 16s or what?
Did we?
One. He's had 3 tournaments.
You're being far too harsh, LB.
I'm not being harsh. I'm saying that. I'm saying, in fact, you're saying no one's done as good a job as Southgate.
Well, they haven't. If you're going to use Capello as a yardstick, then your argument's flawed.
On terms of not getting us to the final, but my point of as soon as we get a difficult game, we get beat. That is true.
So the problem's England, then, not the manager.
Well, I don't know what the problem is.
You can say that about everyone on the way. You can say that about Brazil in 2002. You could say that about Portugal in 2004. You could say that about Portugal in 2006.
But is that not where sort of people are saying that Southgate's been a bit lucky with his draws?
Not really, because we played difficult teams on the way. We played difficult teams on the way.
We played.
Do you like him, Pete? Do you like Southgate,
Sweden?
You know what? I like what he's built, and I talk about from the ground up. He's rebuilt England. I do think we need to step away from him. But the big question, and what you guys have talked about, is who comes next? Because we've had those superstar managers, and they
Eddie Howe.
You'll be out of a job by December, so
do you know
what I will say as well?
Dan United, don't.
I'm
start.
joking.
Don't the fingers out, mate. The finger is firmly out.
Do you know what as well though? International. This might be a wild statement, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel international football's come a lot further than what it used to be as well. Like in terms of the nations and how good they are. It's not just the top nations anymore that do well at tournaments. You know, we've seen, look at Croatia, for example. They're tiny, you know what I mean? And look how well they've done it. I guess my point is from way back when it was the same heads winning it all the time, I do think international football's come on in terms of the quality of players, even in these lesser nations. But listen, someone said he related to Southgate. I'm not related to Southgate, man. But I just think he gets a bit of a bad rap. That's all. I don't think he's given the respect that he deserves for his
brought up
time.
good opinions, man. You've justified your opinions. That's what it's about, Joe. It's not just about I like him, why I don't know, just like him, or don't like him, don't know, just don't like him. Jake's got this question about would you guys take losing all 3 group games at the Euros if it meant Southgate left? Listen, I never want England.
Billy, you would say yeah, man. Billy would say yeah. This is wild.
He doesn't watch the group game.
Exactly, man. Oh, it's England lost. All right, okay.
When's the Villa playing?
Exactly. That's
all I
care about. I'd have Villa win anything over England.
The tournaments never feel the same when England go out, though. It never feels this because it's not. I mean, obviously, I don't know where you live, Billy. Obviously, it's different. Like in England, like you get the buzz around and everything.
Lawless,
Yeah,
you must have been box park and that, throwing the beer in the air, thinking, "Oh my God, this is elite." Thank you, Gareth. Southgate, you're the one. Like that in box park. 100% you were.
Pub, mate. I was in my local
Even
pub.
still though. And what was the atmosphere like? Unreal, right?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, I
it's a
can't
good
deny
thing.
that. I can't deny that.
Yeah,
it's been
but
unreal.
like, at the
I'm
end
a
of the
passion
day-
merchant, man. You know that. I'm a passion
We'll all be
merchant,
doing
so it
it.
hits me. It hits me there. You know what I mean?
We'll all be doing it the week before the tournament. I know I will be. As soon the week before the tournament, I'll be going in my cupboard, dusting off me fucking me little bloody waistcoat, and I'll be getting myself ready. It doesn't matter what we say. He'll be there. This will be his last tournament. I think you're completely
Yeah.
right.
Do you
Joe.
think? I don't
he
even know
goes
that it
to
will.
anywhere.
I don't even know that it will. I think he might
Yeah,
start
I thought
another
the
one.
last one would be his last tournament, to be
Yeah.
fair. But I
Depends on the
only
draw.
I just live in hope.
Depends on the draw, because if he gets a tough game in the last 16 straight after the group stages, and we get through
Here we
everything
go,
we do, he'll be gone.
No,
Billy
well, we
can't
beat
wait for
Germany.
it to be
We
on.
beat Germany. That was a tough game.
The FA, the reason why he's still in charge is the FA don't have a replacement for him.
Yeah.
For me,
yeah.
that's the
100%.
reason. Is that they don't have someone that can come in and take the reins. That's the biggest thing. Once they
a
have
long
that
time to
person,
try and find someone.
what's that?
They've had a long time to try and find someone, haven't they?
Exactly. But it goes to the point.
2-1.
Pops, you mentioned how in
How
kind of
far
jest
ahead are
you've
you,
got-
LB? Because I'm literally they've just had a shot.
Maguire own goal.
Oh,
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Dead serious, man.
You're lying. You're lying.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Is it
shit.
really an own goal?
Yeah, it is own goal, man.
Get him out, man.
My phone's going mental. They're like Harry Maguire. Oh my
like
God,
this.
loads of
Oh,
laughing
that
faces.
is fantastic.
man.
Apparently, it's a really bad one, isn't it, LB?
it is a terrible one. I'm
Let's
just
have a
watching it
look.
now.
Oh God.
That-
He's just put his foot out to try and block it, and it's just kicked into his own net.
Just
Oh,
edit that a bit out where I was backing him earlier.
Yeah, man.
Well, can I ask you a
man.
question? Do you think this isn't good for Maguire, man? Is it? Like, I think this is actually damaging for him personally because he's just
Mentally,
getting,
mentally.
yeah, like seriously, Dan, he must be getting absolute. He gets pelters off United. He's now getting pelters off England fans. Like he shouldn't be. I don't think he should be picked for his own. Honestly, for his own sort of
Put it this
health
way,
and that.
I think Southgate's putting his phone on silent tonight. I think.
Yeah, he's had a nightmare today.
My mate's just put in the group chat. He never lets England down. Ah, quality. Listen, to wrap things up because we've got to wrap things up.
Equalizer.
Yeah, there you go. That's what.
Yeah, but
Billy
you would
wants.
love that, Billy. You would
He
love
he
that.
would.
Billy can't wait for Southgate to go. He's
Are you a Scouser, Billy?
Huh?
Are you a Scouser,
No.
really?
No, he's-
No. Okay.
Guys.
Yeah.
Listen, to wrap up because we have got to close. and
Errol's
Laura's
just
got to
behind
go.
me.
If I had to ask you who you want, I'm going to ask everybody individually who they want as the next England manager. You can stay with Southgate if you want, and then we're going to close. Lawless, we'll start with you.
Bielsa. I'm going to talk myself to it. Bielsa. Give me that Bielsa
Oh.
ball.
Is this dream or realistic?
Realistic,
It's
I
gotta be
think, because
realistic, yeah.
otherwise everyone's going to say Pep. So
Yeah, I think Bielsa's realistic.
I'll tell you what. I'll go. Pete will hate me. I'm going to go Eddie Howe. I think he'd be fantastic for England.
Why
I think
would
he'd
you
be
do
brilliant.
that? Why would you do that?
'Cause
Is
I just
Bielsa
like-
realistic though? And Joe just said he just took over the Uruguay. Is he realistic?
Yeah, he's Uruguay. Yeah.
So he's not.
Well,
realistic,
I mean,
is it?
well, I don't know.
Who else
Like,
then?
could
Someone
you-
else
In
then?
a couple of years' time, he could be right. I mean, next year maybe. I don't know.
After, maybe at the end of the next tournament. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, if Southgate is going to stay, it'll be here
How
anyway.
long
And then by then,
Is
Yeah.
Bielsa not going to look at the Uruguay job and think, let me take it up until at least the World Cup? See how far we
Yeah,
can
no,
really
he
get
probably
this
would,
team.
but even still.
all right.
Okay.
fuck
I'll
it, I
give
wouldn't
Eddie
be-
Howe. Are you going, Lawless? You want you stick with Bielsa?
I'm gonna stick. I'm just gonna stick with Bielsa. Yeah.
All right, cool. Billy, not that you care.
Graham Potter or Eddie Howe. Make me fall in love with England again.
Fair play, man. LB,
Honestly, man, I don't even know, bro. I can't even give you a name, man.
you got it, man. Come on.
Not Pep. No.
One man for
Give
the
us
job.
Bob. Give us
One man.
Pep.
I can't
Go on,
give you,
LB.
I don't. Oh, I don't know, man. You know what? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know who I'd get.
You want
I don't-
Southgate gone, but you don't know who to replace him. Come on, man. You must.
Yeah, but it's not my job, innit, to replace him. Dan, you know?
Yeah, but you must have a, you must have a preference.
Get LB in the FA,
Massive
man.
cop
LB in the FA.
Jose Mourinho.
You said
LB.
Mourinho earlier at LB. You're not going to stick with
No.
Mourinho
So
now?
what I still can't decide is whether I want an Eddie Howe or a Potter who will play good football, but ultimately we've got to probably accept that we probably won't win anything. Probably, right? Or as Joe come on and said before, you get Mourinho who will play dead football, but has the potential to seriously win us a trophy. So I guess I've just kind of said it. I'd have to then go Mourinho because he would have the trophy.
Fair play, man. Dan United.
How long's Pep got left on his deal, LB?
No. Let's not do that.
No, it's seriously, it's a year.
2 years. 2 years.
I want Pep. I fucking want Pep. I'd love Pep. I don't care what anyone says. I'd absolutely love Pep with these lads. The stuff he would do with this team, oh my God. He would absolutely just... We'd become magicians. Unreal. Pep.
He really would, man. He really would. I can't even lie. Joe.
For me, it'd be keep it in house, give it to Graham Potter. I think he could be there for a good few tournaments as well, a bit like Gareth has done, and and sort of like take it on from where Gareth's built it up to, because he's done a great job. So I think Graham Potter's the perfect pick. He's out of work, keep him out of work, and I think he'll take us on, and we'll dominate.
Interesting. Pete. You have the last say.
There's only one man for the job, and he's rumoured to take over an international team in the next summer, and it's Carlo Ancelotti.
Don Carlo, yes.
Steal him from Brazil, who he's meant to be rumoured to go to in the summer. I
thought he'd agreed that. That's why I didn't pick him.
Steal him. We've got a full season to steal him. Go and pay the money. Go and get Carlo Ancelotti. He knows how to win trophies. He's got the respect of the elite players. He's already working with Jude Bellingham at the moment. Get him in.
Yo, Joe and Pete, just quickly before Dan wraps up. I don't think you had your say on this before. A couple of people in the chat said, "What would you take Arsene Wenger at England?" What's your views on that?
100%. But he works for FIFA now, though, right? So I think he's out of the. He works for FIFA, doesn't he?
He could probably.
I would take him. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love Wenger.
Who was it? Arsene Wenger.
Has he not been out the game too long, do you not think?
Yeah, that's why I worry.
I don't think that's an issue.
That's the only big question mark.
I'll tell you what it will do, the style of play, which will be attacking and attractive to watch. That's one thing. Might not be defensively amazing at times, but my God, some of the style of football that he played was just incredible.
Well,
whether he can
towards
still do
the
it,
end, it was like pass, try and pass it in the back of the net towards its
it was still great. It was still great to watch. It was just unfortunate that we just didn't have any defensive ability, and he had a lot more wrong with him. It was never his style of play, Arsene Wenger, was it? It was always a lot more than that. And I just think like everything comes to an end, don't it? Listen, boys, it's been a pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. How long's left to go, LB?
16 minutes. Eze just had a one-on-one, but didn't finish too good, straight at the goalkeeper. But Scotland pushing, man. So let's see if Billy gets his wish and gets an equaliser.
He's praying John McGinn gets an equaliser.
McGinn nearly scored, apparently.
Well,
I'll be tuning into Bolivia, Argentina for Emi Martinez. So
I love it, man. Love it. Listen, make sure you go follow all these guys. Make sure you go over to @TheLawless and West Ham Fan TV. Make sure you go to @AVBilly and Total Screamers. Go over to It's LB on socials and on YouTube. United First on TikTok and on YouTube. Just Joe and of course Loaded Mag and Dave's 2010 on Twitter. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. We're out. Yes, people, listen up. Do you want an easy way to make money? Check out Bread and Honey Bets now. With an incredible win ratio, do not miss this chance. This is highly recommended by myself after a very successful win ratio. With betting tips from professionals on your favourite sports such as boxing, MMA, Formula 1 and football. Check it out for yourself for only £10 a month with guaranteed return on investment. Check out Bread and Honey Bets now on the Patreon or follow the link in the description. Check it out, people.